G'day, I'm Warwick Schiller and I want to talk to you about something called trigger stacking, and it's how it's relative to the question, what do you do with a crazy horse? Trigger stacking is something that, they talk about in the scientific community, and trigger stacking is about things that add up that ends up with a bit of an outburst of some sort. Let's say you've had a bad day at work and then the commute on the way home was really bad, and then you get out of the car and you stub your toe on the step as you're coming into the house, and then you come into the house and the kids have not cleaned up what they're supposed to clean up and you go off. If you'd have had a perfectly good day and you had a great day at work, the drive home was really good, and you don't stub your toe as you get out of the car, stub your toe as you come up the steps of the house and you walk inside and the kids haven't cleaned up, you might tend to say, hey, can you kids clean this stuff up? I thought I asked you to clean it up. So, it's just things that upset you that build up. And a few years ago at a clinic in England, I had a girl say to me, she said, so what do you do with a horse that's crazy? And I said, well, I don't know, what kind of crazy is your horse? And she says, well, my horse is the kind of crazy that goes off out of nowhere. Like, I'll be out hacking out, which is trail riding in England, and they call it trekking in New Zealand. She says, I'll be hacking out and I'll be riding along, and a rabbit will run out of the wet grass, and my horse will kind of look at it, but not really do anything, and go along a bit further, and then another rabbit runs out of the grass, and my horse kind of steps sideways but doesn't really do anything, and then another rabbit and a bit further, and I've been hacking out for 2 hours and my horse has seen 12 rabbits and none of them bothered my horse. But then I'm riding along and another rabbit comes out of the thing and my horse loses his mind. What you do with a crazy horse like that? And I said, well, I don't think your horse is crazy. What I think was if your horse is perfectly relaxed when he left home, he's riding along and one rabbit jumps out and he goes, and he kind of holds on to one rabbit startled's worth of worry. Then he goes along, another rabbit jumps out, and now he's holding on to 2 rabbits worth of worry. And then he's holding on to 3 rabbits worth of worry. And obviously your horse has a 12 rabbit limit. Once you get over that threshold, he can't hold it anymore, and off he goes. And I just looked up trigger stacking on the internet and I found a really good graphic about this. And if you look at this graphic here, there's the bucking threshold, and then there's certain things. There's concern caused by improper saddle fit, concern caused by being ridden away from home, there's concern that's caused by an unbalanced rider. And if you have the unbalanced rider on with the improper saddle fit and they're ridden away from home, it goes over that threshold and things happen. So if you've watched the principles of training videos that I've released here, one of the principles of training is called change one thing at a time. And so that's changing one thing at a time is what will help you not have that sort of thing happen. Make sure it's perfect here before you add something else, because, make sure your saddle fit's perfect. Make sure your rider's perfectly balanced. Then if you had those 2 working and you rode your horse away from home, you wouldn't have the problem. And so it's really all about, another one of the principles of training episodes I did was on the don't go to bed angry principle. And this is about just having those horses be able to see the rabbit and get rid of that rather than hold on to that tension. And recently at a clinic, I was working with a big, I described him as an anxious, pushy warm blood. And the first day, he was really triggered to where, he'd be looking at something, thinking about it. Instead of letting that thought go, he'd hang on to that thought and then something else, and it would cause him to do all sorts of silly things. But by the second day, as you'll see in this little clip here, you'll see he can get distracted and then he can let that go rather than get distracted and hang on to it. So just watch what he does here. He's going to look around for a bit. So his anxiety is starting to build, okay, because he's thinking about things in the future, and then it goes away. His head comes back down again. He just fixed himself. Okay? He's now mentally back with himself right here. Then his head comes up and he goes, what's going on over there? I wonder if that's got something to do with me. What are those guys doing? Are they coming towards me? They're going away. No, they're going away. Okay, well, if they're going away, maybe I'm not going to die. Look at his bottom lip twitching. And he goes, okay, yeah, I'm not going to die. I'm fine. You see right there? So he just looked at something and went, what does it mean? Has it got anything to do with me? No, it doesn't. I'm good. That's what we want them to be able to do. You're out trail riding, you're riding along, the rabbit runs out of the bush. He goes, what was that? No, it was just a rabbit. It's nothing to do with me. Instead of hanging on to that. Yeah. So that's what the term trigger stacking means. And if you've watched any of my videos and I say, oh, well, he had a few rabbits, what I'm referring to is the rabbit story, to where the horse started to get a build-up of things and didn't ever let go of those things. You know, it's the same in the human world. If you're married or been in a long-term relationship and you've had a knockdown, drag-out argument about something really simple, like whether the toilet seat faced this way or this way, think back to the first day of your honeymoon. If that particular thing occurred, was it a knockdown, drag-out argument about that thing? If it wasn't a knockdown, drag-out argument about it then it's not about whether the toilet seat faces up or faces across at this point in time. It's the 27 years of me telling you blah, 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 blah. You know, it's just a build-up of stuff. So that's why I call it the don't go to bed angry principle, because that, you know, if you're married at your wedding, you probably had an older, wiser family member tell you the secret to a happy marriage is don't go to bed angry. And what is that about? That's about whatever tension builds up during the day, get rid of it that night before you go to bed. And then you get up the next day, hey, it's the start of the relationship again. You don't have any build up of old stuff. And so anyway, I'm rambling now, but that's what trigger stacking is and how it's related to our work with horses.